Hello, everybody. This is Sree from BizBuzz. Yeah, what matters the most? Sponsored by My Work Belt. My Work Belt is a SaaS product, especially designed and catered to the small businesses that are in service-based industry. And today I have Craig. Um, Craig Andrews has been a big opponent of being able to sell on a high trust basis. So, how do you present or how do you create that high trust on your sales process? And what is the ill effects of it if you don't do it? So, Craig, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Sree. It's good to see you again.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So, today the topic we are talking is a high trust. So, what is a high trust means? And first of all, before I go into more details, what I want to ask you is what is the importance of trust in doing a sales or in doing a business growth for any small businesses?
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to what you're asking them to commit to.
Hmm.
Yeah, so let me give an example. My flip-flops wore out,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, I bought two pairs of flip-flops. The first pair was a cheap pair out of China that that were uncomfortable, and I was trying to save literally $10. And so I got these Chinese flip-flops and I started walking in them and I was just uncomfortable. And so once I realized I'd bought the wrong flip-flops, I went back and I bought another set of flip-flops. I'm sure they're made in China as well, but made to higher quality standards. Well, I'm only out, I think, $12, $13 that I paid for the cheap flip-flops. And that's an expense that I'm willing to lose. And so that transaction didn't require a lot of trust. When we start moving up to the higher ticket stuff, it's a lot more trust. And you have to think about who you're selling to. If you're selling to a CEO or an owner of a business, the trust element there, and I'll just talk about it from the marketing perspective because this makes I run into this. Everybody I get on the phone with has a bad marketing story in their past. And
Right.
so the trust that I have to overcome with the CEO or owner is I'm not like the last three marketing guys he hired that disappointed him.
True,
And
indeed.
and it doesn't necessarily have to apply to marketing, but if you're talking to an owner, if they have an experience in the past of
Especially the
buying a
bad
service,
experience.
yeah, you have to overcome that trust. If you're talking to an employee, the employee's fear is that they're going to get fired or
Uh,
maybe not get promoted as quickly if they make a bad choice. It's sad, but it's a reality that the employee is less focused on the growth of the business, more focused on the growth of their career. And so the trust that you
it
have
is
to have,
just the nature of any human being,
yes,
right? But go ahead. Trust is necessary in order for that relationship, employee employer relationship, needed to be met and move forward to the growth.
yeah. So if you're selling to an employee in an organization, the trust that you have to earn is that they will look like a good employee for hiring you.
Mhm.
And that's a big deal. We've worked with financial advisors,
Yeah.
and for that's not necessarily high ticket. I wouldn't list that as high ticket, but it's super high trust because you're giving someone your life savings. It's not just your life savings, it's your hopes, your dreams of your future.
Right. So
And
the
so
high trust is extremely important in that. So in some industries, that high trust is extremely important. In some industries, the argument here is that high trust may not necessarily a need. I just wanted to see if that product or service is going to meet my requirements, and off you go. An example you just mentioned in the beginning, cheap flip flops to a little bit more expensive flip flops. It's because of such a low investment involved, you didn't really look into the trust factor. You look at it, okay, is it giving me few dollar savings or not, I'm going to gamble on it. Is that not how it works?
Yeah, and I thought it was really hard to screw up flip-flops, but they managed to do that.
This is indeed correct. So what we are taking away is that it doesn't matter whether it's a small or it is a large ticket item. Trust is extremely important, and the trust is not necessarily uh, come in one small snap of a event. It could be developed. Am I correct?
That's right. Yeah, it's there was a study that was done years ago uh, regarding conversion optimism. This was in the earlier days of the web and when e-commerce was still very much in its infancy. And one of the things they discovered was even for a $1 purchase, there was a trust issue that you had to overcome. You know what the fear was? The
Yeah,
fear wasn't that somebody would lose a dollar. The fear was that they would look stupid or be taken advantage of.
is indeed correct. That is actually a very genuine fear, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you don't have a problem to lose a dollar, but certainly it is near death situation if you know you might lose your face or your face,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Uh, that's a very great example. Thank you very much for sharing. And so, what do you suggest to a small businesses that they can take steps in order to develop and establish that high trust with their prospects?
So there are a few things, and let me answer in the context of how we generally solve this. And this isn't a sales pitch, but I'm just that's the only way I know how to answer it. And the first thing is goes back to actually a Simon Sinek video that I think most people are familiar with. It Start with Why.
Yes, with why?
Yeah, it's people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Hmm.
And it's what's allowed companies like Apple to remain one of the most valuable companies in the world. Apple went from 4% market share in 1997 to, I think they're hovering around 30%, which is not dominant, but they're wildly profitable. They're more profitable than any of their competitors.
Yeah, they have cash reserves that are much more than some countries' capitals, GDP
Yes,
itself.
yes. Uh, and and Simon Sinek actually talks about that. And so when when we're looking at building trust for somebody, one of the things that we're trying to pull out is what's your character? Who are you? Why should I trust you? What's your why? If I
Mm-hmm.
can, if I can believe that we share a common set of values and what drives your decisions when I'm not looking are similar values as drive my decisions, then I'm more inclined to trust you. And one of the shocking things is that if you want to build trust, and we do this on the People's About Us page,
Mm-hmm.
you've got to reveal a weakness, vulnerability, or flaw.
Mm-hmm.
That is an essential ingredient. That is not a non-negotiable. If your About Us
Wow,
page is some version of we were good until we became great, that is not building trust.
I see. So you should be confident enough and strong enough to admit, hey, I fell here, I messed up.
And we do it in the form of telling a story.
Oh, yes,
Stories are powerful. Um, it's a way of programming a part of the mind that makes 95% of our decisions. When people come at us with facts,
yeah,
it has to make it through like several barriers within the brain. But when you come
absolutely.
in through the back door with a story, you can start implanting beliefs in people's heads. And when you're telling a story and you tell a story about how you once failed, uh,
Indeed,
people are attracted to that. They've it makes you human.
makes you human, right? So thank you very much for sharing that. It's a great wisdom, and it's a different spin than what everybody thinks, So you can establish this trust to your prospects through the about by being able to confidently say, this is where we failed, and then we picked up and we came back through a story,
And why you picked up.
why
What
we are
was
doing that.
motivating you to do it?
That's incredible takeaway. Thank you very much, Greg. Greatly appreciate being on the show today. And I always enjoy our conversations. And I
Sree,
always learn talking to you.
Sree, it's a delight. I love our conversations together. Thank you.